Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about very important topic of object oriented programming, that is inheritance and pointers. So in the case of inheritance, these are some contents which I'm going to cover in this possibly I can cover these topics in my video lecture, that is base class and derived class, protected members, relationship between base class and derived class, constructor and destructor in derived class, overriding member function, class hierarchies, public and private inheritance, types of inheritance, ambiguity in multiple inheritance, virtual base class, abstract class, friend class and nested class. So basically um, let's start with what exactly is inheritance, because it is very important to know what is inheritance in order to use it in different programs. So inheritance usually refers to passing something from one generation to another. This is the literal meaning of inheritance. It can have different meanings depending on the context. So general meaning is inheritance, meaning receiving money, property, titles or rights from parents, relatives or someone after their death. So the example of this can be that some person received a house as inheritance from her grandparent. In case of biology, it is inheritance is nothing but process by which traits or characteristics are passed from parent to their offsprings through genes. So like eye color and blood groups are decided by genetic inheritance. In case of object-oriented programming, inheritance is a principle where a class we have learned in earlier lecture, where a class can acquire properties and behaviors from another class. So the class which acquires properties and behaviors is called subclass or child class. From the class it has derived, that class will be called as parent class or superclass. So if a example of it can be class car is inherited by class electric car, then electric car automatically gets the features of car. So car is the parent class, electric car is the child class. So the child class electric car can use all the methods and behaviors of class car. So as you can see in the pictures, the parent or the father is a base class and there is a son who can be called as derived class or child class. So the child can inherit all the methods characteristics from the base class. Similar is the case of the animal. Now I can give you one more example in case of inheritance. Now there is a base class called person. So what are the different methods or functions can be there related to the person can talk, walk, eat, right? But persons can be their occupation of person can be different, like a math teacher is also a person, a footballer is also a person, businessman is also a person. So along with talk, walk and eat, there can be many more functions. Say suppose for math teacher, teach math is one of the method. So math teacher along with teaching math can talk, walk and eat. So the base classes properties can be used by the derived class. Same is the case of footballer. Footballer has one more property apart from talk, walk, eat. It is play football. So along with play football, it can use person classes methods also. In case of businessman, it is run business, and along with run business, talk, walk, eat can also be used. Now, how to use it in the code? So basically the base class is a class and derived class is a class which can be derived from the base class. So first of all, you will have to in your program you'll have to write your base class with the keyword class space name of the class. So in my case I'm using the name for the base class is base class only. So class space base class, and then there will be opening and closing curly braces and followed by the semicolon. It means this is the end of the base class. Now base class, in the body of base class you can write base class properties and functions. You can write the attributes also. Now when you want to use the child class, then again the syntax is class space the name of the child class. Name of the child class I am taking as derived class. So class space name of the child class colon. You can use any access specifier like private, public, protected, and then you can specify the name of the parent class from which the derived class this class is derived. Again it will have the body followed by the semicolon. So access specifier we are going to see one by one. Access specifier can be public, protected or private, but the default access specifier is always private. So we'll see access specifiers in detail. First one is public, second one is private, third one is protected. Now when we are talking about access specifiers, it allows you, it defines the rules how you are going to access the methods and attributes of the class. So when we are talking about public access specifier, so when we are talking about public access specifier, access specifier define how the members means variables, method, constructors of a class can be accessed in object oriented programming. So it decides control, scope and visibility. So the first one says public. In case of public, members are accessible from outside the class. So members can be accessible from anywhere. So whether it is inside the class, outside the class or in any other package or modules. In case of private, members cannot be accessed or viewed from outside the class, but it can be done in the class itself. So that's why the name is private. It is very private to the class. Third access specifier, if you can see, protected. In case of protected, member cannot be accessed from outside the class. However, they can be accessed from inherited class. So the inherited classes can access all the members even though they are protected. To understand this, I would like to explain this table: access specifier, private, protected, public. I have got three columns. First, within the same class, the scope we are specifying over here. Within the same class, in derived class or outside the class. When you are talking about private, private means to that class only. So within the same class, you can access everything. In derived class, no, because it is very private to the class. Outside the class, no. In case of protected, within the same class, okay, but the derived class also can access the protected member of the base class. So that's why yes is written over here. Then protected members can be accessed outside the class, no. When we are saying public uh, variables or functions can be accessed anywhere, within the class, in the derived class, outside the class, anywhere. Then relationship in OOP. One of the advantage of OOP language is code reuse. Why we are using this inheritance? Code reuse. Because you will write something once and you can utilize or reuse it again and again using inheritance. So there are two ways we can reuse the code. First one is you can use the inheritance or object composition. So is a relationship, if you will talk about, it is based on inheritance. Has a relationship is the use of instance variable that are references to the other objects, which is has a relationship composition. I'll try to explain this with the diagram. First, if we'll see class bike, there is one more class pulsar and there is one more class engine. Now class bike and class pulsar. So the class pulsar can inherited from class bike. So class pulsar is a class bike. So pulsar is a bike. So that is called is a relationship. So this is inheritance. That class pulsar is inherited from class bike. In case of class engine, you can write class pulsar has a class engine. It means that is called object composition. How that class pulsar is made? It can have many more classes like class engine. So that is called object composition. So class pulsar or pulsar has a engine. Now when we are talking about types of inheritance, there are different types of inheritances. For as you can see in the diagram, there are 5 diagrams where you can easily understand there are different types of inheritances. First diagram, if you will see, The first diagram depicts single inheritance where a child class inherits from only one parent class. So B is a child class, but it is inherited from only single parent class, that is A, single inheritance. Second diagram, if you will see, which is called multiple inheritance. So there can be a case where a child or a kid takes properties from mother and father both, right? So this multiple inheritance is of that type. A child class can inherits from more than one parent class. So if you will call A as mother and B as father and then C is kid, then kid can be taking properties or looks or the behavior from both the parents. So multiple inheritance is classic example. This is the classic example for multiple inheritance. If we'll see the third diagram, you can see the levels in it, A, B and C. So in multi-level inheritance, a child class becomes the parent of another class. So again here you can take one more example where A is say suppose grandmother or grandfather, B is father and C is the kid. So the inheritance comes in levels. So a child class becomes the parent of another class and there is a chain of inheritance in multi-level inheritance. The fourth diagram, if you can see, that is hierarchical inheritance where there can be multiple child classes which are inheriting from same parent class. So A is the parent class, single parent, and it can have three kids like B, C, D, three child classes B, C, D. Then last one, if you can see, hybrid inheritance, it is combination of two or more types of inheritance. If you can see this particular diagram is combination of hierarchical and multiple inheritance. So A is the parent, the child classes are B and C, and again from B and C there is a single child class that is D. So this is how